Hello, do you want to watch me make a ball-jointed doll from scratch for the first time? Well, you can't because I accidentally deleted the video it was in. So, there's no way to get a deleted YouTube video back. Unless I get, like, a wish from a djinn or something. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's see if you want to talk, Jin.
I will grant you 3 wishes.
3 wishes? Oh, that's great. I only need 1. I want a deleted YouTube video back?
You are foolish. YouTube recently changed its terms of service, so it's actually not possible for me to get your video back unless you're a part of a YouTube Partners program.
But you're a genie. Can't you, bring people back from the dead and cure all disease? I mean, you're a powerful sorcerer.
Listen, kid, I'm a miracle worker, not a miracle worker. If you got a problem with it, you gotta take it up with Susan Wojcicki, not me.
You are bound to YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah, these shackles aren't for keeping me in the censor, if you know what I mean. Well, you've still got 3 wishes. What do you want to do with them?
Well, then, I guess I wish you're free, and you live a long and happy life.
I'm immortal.
Right. What am I to do? I just realized I posted videos to TikTok where I show the clips of me making her. But it's not as much footage, it's not as much as I included in the video, and also it's going to be low quality, but I'll just remake the video, so... Alright, so, Cometet is who I'm sculpting. She's a unicorn, and she's an alien to her planet. She crash-landed as a comet, and then she became a saint-like figure, who led some armies. She was super powerful as a magic user, and then her enemy, the Goblin King, froze her in a crystal, and... locked her in a castle for 1,000 years, and then she was awoken by a messenger by accident, and she couldn't remember anything. So that's where the story kind of starts. And that's the story is called The Crystal Heart, because parts of her are still frozen in crystal, which is why she can't remember. Yeah. So first I got a piece of tinfoil, and I wrapped it around a wire, and then I wrapped the wire around it. I left a little bit poking out the top for armature, so her horn would be stable, and then I sculpted clay around the tinfoil. And the reason I do this is because the tinfoil makes the clay lighter when it dries, and also it makes a hard base to sculpt onto, so when you're pressing you don't distort the clay. So then I made a corkscrew shape out of wire for her neck, and I made sure the wire coming out of the bottom of her neck could fit into it. And then I wrapped a little bit of masking tape around it, which I will cover with clay later. And then I sketched out a body plan to make sure that I could reference it while I was making all her body parts, so that all of her body parts would stay consistent. And then I made some armature for her torso and her pelvis, and I made the mistake of wrapping masking tape around the wire, which I ended up cutting off anyway. Then I sculpted around the armature and left holes for the the elastic to go through. And so I sculpted it, I sanded it, I used a knife a little bit to sand it to get rid of all the imperfections, and then I began making her limbs. So I used this technique where I kind of sculpted it around a paintbrush. I put a paintbrush in it, and then I sculpted around so that the hole would stay there. And then I put in the wires to the tops of the lower legs, little curve shapes, so that the elastic could hook to them. And I did the same for the hands. And the hands needed an armature because hands are really, really delicate. And then I painted all the pieces white with acrylic. Let that dry, and then I sealed them with gloss varnish. And then I went over with matte, I believe, afterwards. And then I cut out little circles of fabric, non-stretch fabric, and I glued them to the to all the parts where the body parts are going to be rubbing together, so that they wouldn't chip off the paint. And I left like a little line so I could fold the sides of the circle over each other, if that makes sense. And then I got some. See, I was trying to make small, like, in betweens, the balls and the ball joints, but the clay wouldn't go that small, like it would fall apart at that point, the kind of clay I had. So I used some hot glue and masking tape to make sturdier ball joints. And then I bent the neck peg so it could fit in the neck, and then I strung her together. Yeah, and that took me a long time, but yeah. If you want a tutorial about how to like string together ball jointed dolls, there's a lot of really good ones on YouTube. So yeah, this is her completed body, and I was super happy with how she turned out, especially since it was my first ball jointed project, my first complete doll making project, like from the beginning ever. So it was really awesome. And I'm really sad the first video got deleted, but I'm also glad that I have this footage to go off of. And yeah, I hope you like her and watch part 2 if you haven't already. So here's like an excerpt from the story. Clouds settled over the land. Mist, fog, giant's hair, dragon's breath, earth milk, tumbling over the mountains that reached jagged into the sky, twisting into tufts, concealing the dark wetness of the land. They were gathering for a very small child. She was from across 10,000 light years, from the very center of the galaxy of birth, where all stardust came from and where all light was born. She was great and big inside, but very little on the outside. Her hair was made of stars, and her skin was made of the stars which were called suns, which spun planets around them. Her eyes were black holes, and each of her fingernails were ice that sprung from frozen asteroids, who were hooves from the stone of a comet. Her blood was cryomagma, which was to say that of very cold water, but specifically taken from the cryovolcanoes of many distant worlds. And finally, her single white horn was the broken half of a planet's ring, shaped, straight, and compressed to fit the head of one very small baby.